Hello, everybody. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and I'm here to talk about Star Wars fandom because Freddie Prinze Jr. has apparently had enough. He's flipping out. He did a podcast last night with his friend Jeff Dye, where he went off on a pretty epic rant, going off on Star Wars fans. It's unclear about what spurred the fight. He's just talking about Star Wars fans in general. And let's be clear, there is a lot of anger out there, which is never good because we all know that leads to the dark side. But there's a lot of anger in the world of Star Wars right now. There's divisive fandoms of people who like where the new direction is going. Some people saying it's not as good, some for various reasons. That's not like the originals. Some are annoyed that it's not original enough, that it's too reliant on the originals. It seems like no one really at Disney or with Lucasfilm can win, because how do you really please all these people at this point? But Freddie Prinze Jr. thinks he knows better than everybody, and I wanted to watch this review. To be fair, I'm not a huge Star Wars guy. I know a lot. I know a lot of what he's talking about, but he gets a little nuanced here. And I didn't watch Rebels, which he is a voice of. That's for those who don't know. Freddie Prinze played a character in Rebels, and as you'll learn, he considers himself a Star Wars expert. So let's take a look at this.
I did a Star Wars cartoon, so even I get hate from Star Wars fans when I'm like, look, dog, you're just mad the franchise isn't aging with you.
Right.
But that ain't how it works. The first one was for fucking kids.
Right. Yep.
The second three were for different fucking kids. And this one is for kids. You just pissed off that Han Solo gave the fucking Millennium Falcon to a girl.
Yeah.
That's it. Because Luke Skywalker's Cinderella. Or Sleeping Beauty,
Yeah.
okay? He can talk to things that don't speak English and understands what they're fucking saying. He gets a fairy godfather instead of a fairy godmother who teaches him how to be the best Jedi in the world in no time fucking flat. And everybody, I know more about the Force than most people because Dave Filoni taught me and George Lucas taught him. And all these video games have fucked people up on what the Force is. Luke's skill doesn't dictate whether he wins or loses.
Right.
The Emperor doesn't dictate whether he wins or loses. The Force dictates who wins or loses based on balance. And here's the quick version on how to explain it to all these people who fucking think they get to decide. In the first if you want to do this time-wise, Palpatine, you would say, and Yoda are the smartest two. Palpatine clearly smarter because Yoda was blind to the power of the dark side and the seduction of Anakin. So let's talk about the seduction of Anakin fucking Skywalker for a second. If the Emperor is the smartest dude in the universe and knows that the Force dictates this, if he kills who he sees as a rival, Anakin, then he knows the Force is just going to fucking correct that because the Emperor knows this. These are George Lucas's words, not mine. So fuck you if you disagree with me. Straight up, this is information, not affirmation time. Straight up, man. So the Emperor knows that. So instead of killing Anakin, what does he do? He seduces Anakin to double the strength of the dark side. So then what does the Force do?
Balance.
It balances us. How? It gives us twins, Luke and Leia, 2 and fucking 2. Balance. And if you look at the movie through just that simple perspective, you will not only know why every single bad guy loses and every single good guy loses, you'll know who's going to win and lose in the next fucking movies. I can tell you, I just don't want to wreck it. People bitch about the dumbest shit like it's archetype characters. This is George Lucas's words. There is no Jack Bauer in Star Wars. That character doesn't exist. It's not Han Solo. Han Solo's a reluctant hero, okay? He's a reluctant hero. That's the archetype. Darth Maul, who everybody wants to win, and he's everyone's favorite because he looks sick and he's great in the video games.
Does look cool.
Fuck you guys. He's Sisyphus. He is born to fail. Learn your Greek mythology like, I don't know, George fucking Lucas did. He's cursed to roll a boulder up the hill only to have it roll to the bottom again every single time for eternity.
Yes.
That is Darth Maul's quest.
Yes.
He's in on the joke, you guys. He knows it. He's just cursed to live that life. Again, not my opinion. George Lucas's. So go fuck yourself if you disagree. You don't get to level up in the Star Wars world. That's a fucking video game. There's no such thing as a gray Jedi. Qui-Gon even says, I turn towards the light because it's there. There's no gray. That's pretend fan fiction shit, which is cool, but don't try to canonize it because it doesn't work. And I'm never going to buy it ever. Star Wars is for fucking kids. Sorry. I'm sorry, man.
That's beautiful.
Well, these two
I
guys
did a
clearly just want to agree with whatever their friend Freddie says, no matter what he says. And to be fair, I think Freddie says some things that I understand, but I think he's also gone a little angry in his own fandom that he doesn't even realize he's doing what everyone else is doing. And the way he's going about it, screaming, cursing, I enjoy the passion, to be honest, but it's not going to help. It's going to only trigger more anger and cursing back at him. He's just inflating it. So he's proving the point of how passionate this fandom is. And just because Dave Filoni taught him and whispered down the lane through Lucas, etc., doesn't mean he's not messing things up too. Freddie Prinze Jr. definitely knows more than I by a million, and then by most, because he did at least learn from the masters. That is a fair comment, but he's coming off a little cocky with it all. But there's a complaint he's making there in the beginning about how Luke, and he makes a valid point. Luke learns the powers pretty quickly, and everyone complains and criticizes Rey for learning her powers very quickly. But they are more similar. People give Luke sort of a pass. He doesn't really learn it until Empire, but he's already lifting stuff up, doing some in the beginning of Empire before that. So you got to remember, it is sort of happened. It's happened in both things. But where I do think Freddie's wrong, Lucas isn't involved in the new sequels, and the new sequels aren't as, I just don't think they're as connected to what Lucas wanted. And if they were, I would almost give it more of a pass. As I've matured, the prequels, I understand a bit more of what the point of them are. He's right. Freddie Prinze is right. And if you go verify this again, which we're gonna, because I want to make sure you guys even know, he confirmed this a couple years ago. This Star Wars is for 12-year-olds. He doesn't like when people are mean. In fact, he goes on to sort of really say Star Wars stands for friendship, honesty, trust, doing the right thing, living on the right side, and avoiding the dark side. Those are the things it was meant to do. He doesn't like when people are getting all angry about Star Wars, cursing off and saying what they are. Like, I believe Lucas isn't happy with the direction the plot is going, but I'm sure thematically he doesn't want to encourage this. They don't know. Screw Kathleen Kennedy and ruining my. It's like it's. That is a fair frustration. I'm not trying to say they can't get mad. I'm mad. I didn't like Last Jedi that much, but I didn't like it mostly because I don't know where it's going. There's lack of vision, and the fact that George Lucas is no longer doing it, I think, is a fair criticism for a lot of Star Wars fans to be frustrated with where things are going, because it is very unclear. And it doesn't. J.J. Abrams started this sort of half vision, and as Bob Iger revealed, it's not the plot that Lucas wanted, and now they're. Rian Johnson took over and thought he was going to go a great direction that everyone would be excited for, and the fans were not. They were divided. And so now J.J. Abrams is clearly, as I've done in my videos, you can go back, even J.J. sort of like, yeah, we're correcting things. So now it's back to J.J.'s sort of finale. So the whole thing is just a little odd. Iger has said they ignored Lucas's chapter. They bought his outlines for the final trilogy and have ignored it. So I think most anger comes from the new sequels. And I'm confused what he's talking about. And this idea of like Jedis can't level up. I mean, yes, they do. There's levels of Jedi. I mean, I'm not that big of a Star Wars, but correct me if I'm wrong. They've trained at certain levels. Of course they do. So some of his stuff is just confusing to me, but it's funny. It's funny to see him get unnerved because clearly there is a lot of toxic fandom in Star Wars. Absolutely. What they did to what's her name? Kelly Marie Tran was just so gross and unnecessary. And the way they were hitting her so hard, I don't. That is the ugly side of fandom that we shouldn't ever support. Now, not liking the film, you're allowed to not like the film, but bashing everyone involved and saying they've ruined your Star Wars, it's for kids. It's for a new generation. Just like the prequels wasn't for me, I can value now how Lucas had a vision for it, and it was pretty beautiful in sort of creating characters, environments, new aliens, new things. Darth Maul was a badass, but I agree with Freddie Prinze Jr.'s take on him, but at the same time doesn't make him a strong character, just like Han Solo is a strong character. Yes, it's all borrowed or stolen from Greek mythology and Joseph Campbell. All this stuff is what Lucas has admitted to sort of stealing the hero's journey. So particularly in the original trilogy, you can really line that out even better, and you can so in the prequels. But in this new one, we don't know where it's going to end, but it's pretty seemingly clear where it's going to go as well. So he has some points. I think people I've seen a lot of Star Wars fans going off on him like, how dare he? And they're just getting more angry, fueling more anger. Freddie Prinze's anger, fueling fan anger. And I think that's where we just got to be careful of like, guys, of course it's okay to not like Star Wars. It's okay to be vocal and criticize the films for why you don't like them. That's what we do here as fans. But, I think the toxicity is starting to get a little hairy. And I think Freddie is being a little toxic here too, telling his fans to go F off. That's not a very civil way to do it. At the same time, I can't imagine what. I mean, he clearly gets it too. Every celebrity gets hate. I'm no longer a celebrity, but of course I still get hate. I got it before I was, kicked out of where I was. It just happens. Once you hit a certain level, people don't like you anymore. They get jealous or angry, or they're just not a fan and they want to vocalize it. And I'm sure he's starting to get that a little bit, and it pisses him off. And he's allowed to vent. He's allowed to do it. He probably should have done it with less F-bombs if he wanted to be taken seriously. And I think it opens up the interesting conversation of is he right? Are fandoms losing their mind, just sort of looking silly because it's really just a fantasy fairy tale at the end of the day, created by George Lucas, who sort of has explained where it's going to go the whole time. And even though Kathleen Kennedy and Abrams and J. Abrams and Rian Johnson have put it in different directions, it doesn't still break away what the core of the story is, which is still there. Should we be getting so bent out of shape? Why? Because these are the characters we love and demand better? I mean, Lucas should have that say, and Lucas sold it. Lucas sold it to Disney. So if you want to be mad at anybody, be mad at him that he sold it away to help make people exploit it for the rest of their life. He made that choice. The creator of Star Wars made that choice to go buy it off, to sell it off and go live off somewhere else. So now it's the whim of someone else. You don't have to watch it if you don't like it. That's where I stand. I'm going to watch it. I'm not that excited for the new one, the last one, but I'm sure as hell going to watch it, and so are you. You know it. So that's where I stand on this. Interesting to see Freddie Prinze lose his marbles there. What do you guys think? Do you agree with him? Do you think he's off base? Does it make sense? Some of it doesn't make sense to me. And for Star Wars experts, please chime in down below, get your thoughts in there. But I found this very entertaining. Also, always hit me up on social media at Andy Signor, and please hit that subscription button and the notification bell to be alerted when future videos come out. I got some more fun stuff coming soon, so stay tuned. And thank you as always. May the Force be with you all. Bye.